Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aquarian Mind Podcast. Today is podcast episode number 7. I'm your host, Jamel Crothers. It's Mondays with Mello, and today I'm going to be talking about passion and, having a passion for what I do and why I do the things that I do in regards to my writing and doing this podcast and a whole lot of other content. But then also kind of talking about what your passions are and what you want to do with your life. So, trying to figure out how I can start this podcast, but I'm just gonna flow with it and see where it takes me. So years ago, I started, seriously, writing my poetry. And if you guys, haven't listened to my other podcasts and, don't know the full story, I've been, writing for a long time, since I was a young kid. And when I turned 32, I was trying to figure out what my next steps were in my life, and I finally decided that I was, going to take the next step and start, writing books. I always felt like I had a talent and knack for it, but it was never where I got to the point where I decided I was going to write something that had meaning and had purpose. I always thought to myself, well, no one's going to care what I have to say, and no one's going to want to read my stuff, and yeah, it's just poetry, and what does it matter, right? So I had a poetry page on Instagram, I would say for about 2 years, and I started posting a lot of my poetry and things of that nature, and that's when hashtags worked on Instagram. They don't really work like that anymore. It's ads and algorithms and a whole bunch of other things that go on now on Instagram, but that's besides the point. I digress. The good part was that I kind of grew a following with my writing, and a lot of my content related to people and life and, things I may be experiencing and going through, and, I became relatable in a lot of ways. And to be honest, my passion grew the more I kept posting stuff on Instagram. And, then I knew that I really had to really pursue this passion of writing. And I knew that I wanted to write books. I just didn't think I was going to write as many as I did so far. And I never thought in a million years that I would have 60 books planned out in my head of, writing consistently and publishing something every few months. Next year, I'm taking a real big leap of faith by publishing 1 book a month. Yeah, don't ask me what made me do that and why. Just flow with me on this. A lot of my writing on social issues became a sense of enjoyment for me. It was a way for me to, voice, what I'm thinking without being, without being loud and vulgar about it. I guess that's the best way to put it. And then when you get to write, all of the content that you do, people get to know you and your writing and your flow and your style and things of that nature. I'm a very private person, so I don't publicize every aspect of my life. Granted, lately on Instagram, I've been posting a lot of things that I cook, and I've been posting my weather reports, because I live in warmer weather now. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, writing is something that I enjoy doing. Being behind this microphone and, doing this podcast. I did my podcast for 2 years and talked about all the world issues, and it got to a point where it was affecting me mentally, so I knew I wanted to really go down this journey of talking about, my writing, my journey. It's a podcast that's different than everyone else. I don't know really too many authors that are doing a podcast on a daily basis that's talking about what goes on in their minds, how they write, talking about their books and why, and the goals behind it and things of that nature. But overall, I'm glad that I found my passion and I found my niche, and I've been developing my craft, and I'm growing my audience slowly. I'm, starting to meet people, where I'm living now, and it's just very fulfilling for me. It's very fulfilling every time I finish writing a book. It's honestly not when I publish the book. It's when I finish writing it, editing it, formatting it, having the book cover, the synopsis. When all that's done, then I'm fulfilled. It's not when it hits bookstores on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles, anything like that. So the bigger question with all of this is, what is your passion? What are you good at and know that you can impact others? How can you incorporate your talents and gifts and make it something that you'll enjoy doing every day for the rest of your life? Because, see, that's the name of the game in life. You should enjoy what you do every day. You should have a sense of purpose in your life. It's said that if you don't wake up, with a passion and an excitement to, do something that's going to impact the world, then it's like, well, go back to bed and figure it out. And I do believe that. I spent a lot of my 20s kind of, on a wild goose chase to try to make it in sports, and then I finally understood the politics of it as I got older. But to be honest, I wake up driven pretty much every day on a daily basis. And I'm at a place in my life where I'm loving this whole journey. I'm not where I want to be yet. And then even when I do get to where I want to be, that passion is still going to be there. The content's not going to stop. Even when I finish writing my 60 books, I'm, shifting into a focus of writing short films and screenplays. And there may be some other books that won't make it to Amazon, but I'll have them personally on my website that you may have access to. But that's not until about 2025. So that's a few years from now. But anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that we're not meant to be here just to pay bills and eventually die. That's not life. And I'm quite sure you've heard this saying, but you got to do what you feel is right for you and not others. So look, if you want to be a professional video gamer, go for it. You want to be a public speaker? Go for it. You want to be a writer? You can do it. You want to own a business? Not the best time to do it is probably now. If you want to own a small business, why not? Right? I know someone right now that, is working with her family to start their own family business. And, they hear the whispers of it's not the best time and the world's in a crazy place. There is no perfect time to really start anything. The market's going to determine what you're good at. The market's going to determine how far you go. Your audience is going to determine how far you go. And I think that I'm at a place where I'm driven more now than I've ever been, because I'm approaching 5 years of this journey of, writing books. I'm thankful that I'm able to speak on a podcast about my passion and why I wake up like, okay, this is what I'm doing today. This is what I'm going after. And when you figure out your passion, continue it every single day. Don't give up. Trust me when I tell you. And you're going to have days where you're not going to be as passionate as other days. I go through it myself. And I'm going to be transparent with you. There was a time where at least once a week I thought to myself, I don't feel like doing this anymore. But when I think of having to work in corporate America until I'm nearly 70, then things change. And then I come and get behind this microphone and sit at a desk and turn on this microphone, and I get going. And I go walk to my desk, and I open up my laptop, and I start writing. And I know that I'm going to get to a place where I want to be, where I'll be able to live comfortably and not have to work in corporate America forever. Now, look, if you want to be at the top of your game in corporate America, then that's great. Go for it. But some people just aren't cut for it, and I'm not one of them. So take the time today to think about your passion and what you love. And if you love 5 things, go try all 5 things. And if you're great at all 5 things, then, well, you got to figure out what's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. That's just how it goes. Because, I love to write, but then I also love to do this podcast, and then I also love to be on YouTube, and then I love to do screenwriting, and, write scripts, and, I love, developing designs for my clothing line. So, in hindsight, I have a few passions, but I know writing is always going to be number 1 for me. That's always going to be at the top of the list, and growing that. And when you figure out your passion, I want you guys to, write down everything. Your goals, your to-do lists, weekly or every day, whatever works for you, figure that out. It's good to take advice from people that are doing it. It's good to, take advice from people who are going to support you in what you're trying to do. You're going to deal with negativity. I'm just going to tell you that right now. You're going to have doubters. You're going to go through everything. What I will say is that when you feel something in your heart, you're gonna do it every day. You're gonna go to great lengths to make sure that you continue your life path. Some of us are great athletes. Some of us are great writers. Some of us are great thinkers. But do what you feel is best for you. Do what you love. Don't try to do what everyone else is doing. Trust me, the market changes on a daily basis. Anyway, that's my podcast for today. Thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned Wednesday for Wednesday's podcast, which will be more about motivation and inspiration. And Friday, you guys know, it's my book Insight. Be good, everyone, and go accomplish your goals.